Howdy, Banjo Ben here again. Ba-ba-da-da! G-lick. Okay, see, there's all my tricks I threw at you all at once. There's the howdy and the ba-ba-da-da and the G-lick. You got to be ready for those G-licks. I'm telling you, they'll come out of nowhere. Hey, I've got a super cool lesson for you today. We're going to learn a classic tune, and we're going to integrate what I think is one of the coolest lessons I've ever taught. I'm in a hurry. I'm talking fast because I want to fit it all in. But we're taking Red Hair Boy from the, about its most basic version, and then I'm going to try to walk you through how I create a solo. Okay, that's one thing I get asked about the most. How do you create a solo? Well, I'm going to show you as good as I can in 10 minutes. So y'all take a look at this. Here's the most basic version of Red Hair Boy. G-lick! There you go. Some of you got it. Some of you were ready. Capo up too. Let's play some Red Hair Boy. Okay, y'all, these are the three things that everybody wants to know. When I started playing guitar, these are three things that I wish I would have known. I figured them out. I'm going to explain them to you here. These are three things that I look at whenever I take a basic version to a more improvised version. Those three things all start with P's. They're easy to remember. The first one is called pause. The second one is called passageways. And the third one I call presentation. Let me explain real quick what those mean. Pause, for those of you with music theory experience, we're talking about the quarter notes or the eighth note or the half notes that are in the whole barrage of eighth notes that you hear in a song. For those of you who don't know what that means the notes that take longer to play, that have the longer duration. The quick example, first phrase of Red Hair Boy. You hear this long note? That open G string right there, that's a quarter note in the midst of other eighth notes. We're going to look at that first. The second P is passageways. What I mean by passageways are times in a song that take you from either one idea to another, maybe from one chord to another, maybe from an A part to a B part. Those kind of stick out. A lot of times these are the end of phrases. Those are my favorite places to attack, or the very ends of phrases. Okay, one example of that, right there when we're coming down to that flat 7 chord, that's something I would attack right off the bat. Now the third P is something that Tony Rice is the master at, and that's presentation. What I mean by presentation is timing. Just like a boxer, he has presentation, and what he tries to do is trick his opponent into thinking that a punch is going to come at a particular time, but he'll either throw it before or after when his opponent expects it, therefore surprising him. That's what we're going to try to do with our notes. Not too much, but just a little bit. Those little tingles that you get on the back of your neck whenever you listen to Tony Rice, that's his timing. That's his presentation of the notes. That's what does that. So we're going to use those three things to go through this basic version and try to turn it in as quickly as we can to an improvised, more advanced version. Let's go. Now, the first thing I want to say is that when we start one of these songs, I like to leave the first 4 to 6, maybe even 8 bars alone. I like it to be really standard. I like for all the people that are listening in your audience, or the guys in your jam group, or the girls, to know which song you're playing. I don't want to start improvising right off the bat, or you're going to lose people. Okay? So in this song, Red Hair Boy, I'm going to take those first 4 bars and leave them almost exactly the same. But I am going to attack that last little phrase that we talked about. Okay? And all I'm going to do is mess with the presentation. Now your ear is expecting to hear this first fret on the B string at a certain time. What I'm going to do is throw it at you just a little bit earlier. Watch how I do this. You see how I did that? I'm throwing it 1/8 notes time in front of when you're expecting to hear it. It sounds kind of Tony-esque, okay? Whenever we get into these things, it's going to remind you of Tony. It's because he's the bomb at this. Next thing we're going to do, let's keep going. That last little phrase, that one sticks out like a sore thumb for me. Now, so let me tell you what I do at times like these. If I'm just looking for a lick to make up, this is a surefire way to make it up. Those have some of those pauses in it, right? What I'm going to do is instead of pausing, I'm going to play through the pauses. I'm not going to change my left hand, I'm just going to keep playing my right hand. So instead of this, watch what I do. See how I did that? Now, we repeated some notes when we did that, right? What I'm going to do is we hit that 3rd fret 3 times. Let's take that middle note and make it another note. We can either go below it, we can either go above it. See how I did that? Okay, so now we've made our own lick up. It's gone from to this. Now, let's take it one step further. Let's fancy it up even more. If we decide that we're going to go up with it, how else can we jazz that up? Well, we're going to bring in slides, we're going to bring in hammer-ons, pull-offs, all the little ornaments. I can slide that. That jumps out to me in my mind. Got it? So now we've made up our own little lick, right? That's fancy, that's cool sounding. Now, what if we throw the slide maybe in a different spot? Right here. Now we're changing strings, so a lot of times you think, why would I slide there? Well, we can slide to this 5th fret on the B string and have the same note as our open E string. Got that? I'm playing the exact same notes, I'm just fingering them different. Then what I can do, the more you play, this is where it's going to really help out. The more that you play, your ear will start making up stuff. And it'll pull on the influences of the people that you like, the people that you listen to. How about that? That's pretty cool, huh? That's pretty cool too. Instead of going, I slid down. Okay? So you can take any of these notes that are on these melodic type licks, try sliding down, try sliding up. Figure out a cool way to get there. Okay, we knew that our target was right there, and we knew what notes we had to use. Let's figure out a different way to get there. Okay, a lot of times it's in your mistakes that you find the coolest licks. Okay, a lot of times it's when things don't work out the way they're supposed to that you say, well, that changed the lick around. I really like that better. Okay, onto the B part. One thing that I've always heard people play on this, and I'm going to throw it in there, is a little triplet pull-off. That's pretty cool. It's kind of a little Tony type thing. I'm using some blues notes there. We'll get into that into another lesson. But again, I'm just changing the presentation up. Okay? Okay, now we have entered into the second half of the B part. Here, I really feel like we have a lot of freedom to start messing with things, to really start pulling the ear outside of the lines, right? And so, okay, I start kind of messing with the melody. The melody is still there, the shell is still there, but we're just changing up how it's hitting the ears. I'm hoping some of this is sinking into you. You've got to break down those walls, break down those barriers. You don't have to stick with the notes that are in the book, that are on the tab. Okay, let's make up our own notes. We're going to stay true to the melody, but let's make up our own notes. Now, let me put all this together into a more advanced version. Check out my clock here. Into a more advanced version. I'll play it for you, then I'll slow it down for you. These tabs are available, richardsondsouthern.com/banjo Ben. Thank y'all so much. Red hair boy. Gillette. Gotcha.